I remember their eyes opening when they saw the images, but it's too late. It had gone. They didn't press stop.
Do you remember paramilitaries sitting in the lobby?
Yes, there were, because that was quite an interesting time, because the paramilitaries were in the hotel, and the Serbs had a sort of press misinformation office in the basement.
Misinformation office in Grand Hotel, first floor, I think. Media, they call it the media office.
Yes, of course, but it was misinformation, and we all
misinformation
knew that.
office.
I seem to remember it may have alternated in different parts. I remember it being on the basement. You may be right, it may be in the first floor then, but they had the misinformation office. And yes, it was very much a hotel linked to paramilitaries, Serbian paramilitaries, and we were staying there. But they didn't know what we had on our tape. But back to your point about getting through, I got to know the back roads or back paths in Drenica particularly incredibly well. With you, we both did, and actually they never were able to stop us getting in or out.
Okay, so one was knowing the back roads in Drenica, but then what I am not aware of now is this mystery from the moment that we edited the program in the editing rooms of Grand Hotel, all the way to Radio Television of Pristina satellite broadcast.
That's
because, as we know, Radio Television of Pristina had Milosevic measures and people in it. How did the Serbian regime allow pictures to be satellited out from that TV, which is today the RTK, all the way to the world? How did that happen?
It is extraordinary. But I remember that we had to race across Pristina with the tapes. We knew what we had, but they didn't. And there was an arrangement with the BBC and the local television where, you know, these are corporations, they're companies, they have arrangements where we can pay money to use their feeding services. We took this in, and I remember when you used to feed tapes in those days, you would put it in the tape recorder, and it would go out, and you would see it on the screen, and it's going live. And so I remember quite clearly that the staff there looking at this, not knowing what it was, it could have been, they didn't realize what it was. They probably thought it was perhaps something much more mild. I remember their eyes opening when they saw the images, but it's too late. It had gone. They didn't press stop. There was this issue about repatriating the bodies to the family and all of that was very uncomfortable and unpleasant. And it was very foolish of the Serbs to do it this way, because the international news had a second hit at getting the story out.
I remember you were being given access by the Serbian side to film the bodies. Do you remember their version and from the version of the misinformation office in Grand Hotel?
Oh, they were terrorists and all of that. And look,
I remember you asking them, look, they're women and children. Where are the terrorists exactly?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, but we certainly asked that because they were clearly family members. I mean, of course, there were some men of military age there, but the majority were not. And so it was clearly a massacre. However much the Serbs have been goaded by attacks on the police and things like that, Amnesty International did a report on it, and were absolutely, it's very clear that this was a sort of revenge attack. And this is what the Serbs used to do. They used to take it out on the civilians.